Manchester United alerted on Dybala's availability. Dybala, one of the people that we really thought is going to be one of the big superstars in the world, but at Juventus, everything looked like it's not working well for him, and he ended up at AS Roma right now. But a lot has not gone ahead to obviously be done in as far as his ceiling is concerned in the game of football. United Matters channel it is. Rock and David is my name. Hope you guys are really having fun, and we're here to bring you the latest news and information as far as this is concerned. Smash the like button, comment and share. Don't forget to subscribe, right? And we're also going to let you know about what Fabrizio Romano has gone ahead to really reveal to us on what is really responsible or called for this guy to obviously take on this deal. And is he going to go to Italy? Is he going to be looked at by other teams outside the Italian Serie A? We're here to discuss that. We thank God for the gift of life, right? The Muslims Barakallahu fikhum, and here we go. Now, Paul Dybala is that kind of player that has been linked to Man United. I think this is the fourth time when he's being linked to Man United. And we know this has been recurring on very many transfers. When you look at Milokovic Savic, Khalid Koulibaly, Paul Dybala. There are like 10 transfers that you expect United to be linked up. And the other person that's going to join the queue is now Frankie de Jong. That every summer transfer window or winter transfer window, expect something to be had, from this guy. Now, we've been told by Grammy Bailey, he works for the High TC Football. He also told us that Manchester United have been made aware of Paul Dybala's availability. He wants to move to the Premier League. Dybala has a release clause of £10 million, which can only be activated in the next 10 days. Now, Dybala is a very good player, no doubt about him. And his talent is really undoubted. But the only position available for him to play is the centre forward. And trust me, he can play there very well. He can play as a central attacking midfielder. He can play as a left attacking midfielder. He can play as a right attacking midfielder. He can also play as a centre forward. So that means he has a lot to offer to Erik ten Hag. But getting him as a striker, I don't see it happening, because Erik ten Hag believes that he needs what we call a giant of a striker. That is it. Sorry about that. Ten Hag needs a giant of a striker. You saw to it that when brought in Rasmus Højlund, he was a giant of a striker. Look at everyone that he's being linked to. He's being linked to only giants. That is it. Victor Osimhen, he's a giant. Anatovic is a giant. Guirassy is a giant of a striker. Which other guy? Bobby, him who plays for Ajax, is a giant of a striker. Sebastian Haller, whom he used at Ajax, was a giant of a striker. So he likes giants, to obviously lead his line, to be the focal point. And Dybala doesn't have this. And I think that's a very huge X of him coming in through to play as a centre forward for the club of Man United. And it's the only position that I think is really available for Dybala to come in through and really fit into that squad of Man United. But never say never on transfers, because United can obviously do the needful and really let things happen. The time this story was put out was on the 5th of January, meaning that United still has 4 days for this to happen. So if they can activate and make it run in 4 days, then £10 million will be really gotten. But you ask yourself, what does Dybala bring to the club of Manchester United? I think he brings in the talent. He's special goal scoring and creating space where it isn't, because he acts well in tight spaces. But the big question is, should that be the attribute, at the club of Manchester United? I think for the time I've been here watching the club of Man United, a lot has changed. And to me, I think the bare minimum right now is the mentality and your work rate. That is it. This is why Scott McTominay is being played ahead of very many other players at the club of Man United. Because the moment one of you is not really putting up the right runs, the right physicality, not having the right mentality in the game, the team loses, because that will cause a disjoint. Even if the rest of the 10 players are really running, the rest of the 9 players are really running well, and one is not doing his job, that means the press won't be effective as it's supposed to be. So when you look at Dybala, his physicality levels are really lacking. He's not all that a high-intensive player, and that's not what Ten Hag really needs. However much they've gone ahead to obviously make him available for the club of Man United, I doubt whether Ten Hag will obviously go in for him for £10 million. Yet there is Guirassy, whom he can get at 5 more onto the 10 they are calling in for, who is really a proven striker, because Ten Hag right now is hunting in for a proven striker, because even Antoine Martial is said to be leaving the club of Man United at the end of this window. Now, we've also got a story coming in through from Fabrizio Romano telling us that the release clause in Paul Dybala's Roma contract, active now until the 15th of January, is 12 million euros. There is also 12 million euro clause activated from July 1st to 31st July this year if a non-Italian club triggers the clause. The decision is up to Dybala. So, when Dybala was coming to Roma from Juventus, he knew to it that he had a destination, and he went ahead to put out a buyout clause, because if you tend not to put out a buyout clause, you can be tied. Let's all admit, this was not Paul Dybala's dream destination. He thought that maybe he would go to Spurs, Man United, Manchester City, Arsenal, and so on and so forth. But all teams couldn't really take him on because of the price that Juventus, I think his contract went down, right? So teams in the Premier League felt like he was not the right guy to get. So he missed out onto that. And even teams like Barcelona couldn't obviously meet his salary request, yet there was space for him. But he's one of those players that I believe has gone ahead to promise so much and delivered so little. That's why I always say that I don't give my verdict on a player according to his potential. I give my verdict on a player according to what he has gone ahead to show, that is delivery. Because every player is as good as his previous 90 minutes. So when you look at Dybala, he's 30 years of age now. I don't think very many clubs are going to go for him. And he should really understand that if he wants to come to the Premier League, he's not going to be a material of Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, and so on and so forth. He has to look at teams like Aston Villa because they need him some experience. Brighton can take him. You get Newcastle can really put in a shift, obviously have him in their squad, and very many others. At the age of 30, I don't really want to see us getting a player who is of that age. That is it. Unless otherwise, Erik ten Hag really goes ahead to really build up a structure, and a player missing in is that player of that age. Like you saw when we brought in Eriksson and Casemiro on a permanent deal, because these two players were, I think, 30, but we needed them to fix up that midfield of Man United and show to it that their presence last season gave us lots of positive results, and the yields were really very positive, and we went ahead to obviously acknowledge them because of what they went ahead to put up onto the field of play. So for me, Dybala, however good he is, even if he has gone ahead to be made available for the club of Manchester United, it's not time for him to come. I think gone are the days when we used to mess up, but with Sir Jim Ratcliffe here, John Cloud here, Bracefield here, David Gill back on the job, Sir Alex Ferguson there, Erik ten Hag there with a very good plan for the club of Man United, I think we need to do better. We need to do doing better in the summer, in these transfer windows. And with the coming in through of players like Kobe Mainoo at the age of 18 performing like that, Garnacho at the age of 19 performing like that, Kambuala 19 performing like that, Amadi Diallo 20 performing like that, you understand? That should be a signal to the board of Man United that we should be getting in young players and build the team for the better. Because quick fixes have always failed to work, and we've not gone ahead to harvest anything positive. So For my case, it's a big no for Dybala to Man United, and I wouldn't want to see him come to the club of Man United. So guys, your thoughts on to Dybala to United alerts are welcome in the comment section below. Would you welcome Dybala the club of Man United? Or you differ from me? Because for me, I don't welcome him. I sign out for now. See you later. The Muslims. Barakallahu fikum. We out.